Hello and welcome to May's Brenda Novak book group meeting. I've been looking forward to this night all month, as I always do. It's always so fun to get together with all of you. Our featured read for this month is The Page Turner by Viola Shipman. We'll bring Wade Rouse on in just a minute. He writes under his grandmother's name to honor her memory, which I think is such a great testament to the relationship that they had. If you haven't had the chance to finish it yet, don't worry, we're going to avoid spoilers. Be sure to like and share the video to be entered to on your own socials, to be entered to win a $50 gift card at the Brenda Novak store, which is the store on my website where you can get all the fun book-related gear and book boxes. And tell us where you're from. And if you've joined the book group recently, let us know if you're new, or if you can remember the date when you joined, tell us that too. It's always fun to see that in the comments. In this book group, we feature another author in the months that I don't have a release, and we discuss the book that we read that month with the author at the meeting, which is always the last Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we always allow people to get, we feature, the books that we feature are all autographed by the author, and you can get a copy, an autographed copy in the Brenda Novak book boxes. These are certainly not mandatory for participation, but we love being able to offer them because at the end of the year, you can have a complete collection of all the books that you've read that year. And Alexa, of course, designs and creates some awesome things to go with them. So a subscription is only $60 a month. You save $2 by having it come automatically every month. It also guarantees that you get one because sometimes we do sell out and run out of the items that we bought. And so there are other perks that I won't go into. They're not mandatory. They're just fun, but they're there for you if you're interested in that. June's Brenda Novak book boxes are all sold out. So unfortunately, we can't get any more of our cute bags. Let me show you this bag. It has the cutest quote on it, and it's embroidered so that it doesn't wear off or rub off. It says, "Life is about adventures you take and the memories you make, and it's always better with a book." So we don't have any more of those left, only just a couple, and we're going to give one away in just a minute. And all you have to do to be entered to win is to join our text club, which you can do by going to brendanovak.com. There will be a pop-up that enables you on the store. Are we good? We're working on both desktop. Okay, we're working this time. Yay, that's good news. I don't have to start over a third time. Anyway, so there will also be the link to be able to join the text club in the comments below. And we are going to send out a text on release day for the summer that changed everything, which is on Tuesday, June 3rd, with a new contest where you can enter to win that cute bag. So texting seems to be the easiest way to get a hold of people these days. A lot of people don't even check their email anymore, or if you're retired, some people don't even bother with email. So we're going to try and shift as much as we can to texting. So we hope you will join us in that endeavor. Okay, so even though June's boxes are sold out, you can still get an autographed copy of The Summer That Changed Everything in our cute tour packages, which are different than the contents that we put in the boxes. So you can get, and you get this personalized, of course, if you come see me, but we do have a ship option if you can't come see me. We have a virtual option where you can get the tour package and then come to the party that's going to be for our June book group meeting. That's going to be so much fun. I have 50 gift baskets that I've put together that we will do as giveaways. And you have a raffle ticket in with the package that enters you to win the giveaways. And it's right here. So that comes in your package as well. And of course, you get the cute book earrings we've been showing to you guys. These are the sterling silver ones here. Oops, they're kind of going together. Let me separate them so you can see them. Oh, well, there you go. Book earrings, or you can get the gold-plated ones, the 14-karat gold-plated ones, which are the ones I'm wearing. You can upgrade to that if you like. And the package also comes with this cute leather bookmark that says in the middle of a Brenda Novak book. I love the tassel. Turned out so nice. You can get the whole package for just $45 and have it shipped if you can't make it to any of the physical stops. But if you are coming to see me, we will have it there waiting for you. We don't ship out the tickets to the tour. We have you on a list, and when you come, you check in and you get the items that you purchased. So we hope to see as many of you as we can. We are not going to have I'm not going to be touring next year. So it'll probably be maybe, I don't know, 2 years since I do it again. So I'm hoping to get as many of you out as possible for this tour so I can see you before the long drought. And I'm also hoping that you will come to something exciting that we started talking about, little rumblings when we were on tour in the fall for the Banned Books Club, that we would like to have a Novak weekend here in Sacramento. And when I turned in a book called Meet Me in Italy, we thought it would be the perfect perfect book to finally have the Novak weekend. And what we are going to do is transport you to Italy. And since Alexa just got married on the Amalfi Coast a year ago, it's still fresh in our minds. And that's where I set the book. So everything fits together. And so you'll think about wine tasting, and we're going to take you to the fun, different things that we think are beautiful about this area and try and show you those. So it won't be like an all-inclusive thing where you have to stay in the hotel and pay for one big price for the ticket. We'll allow you to use your points or however you want to travel for your, airfare or travel and your hotel. But we will get a block of rooms, hopefully at one hotel if you want to stay together, and that will give you a little bit of a discount. And then we're thinking maybe even of taking you like to Coloma, where gold was discovered here that caused the whole 49er gold rush. I actually set my entire Whiskey Creek series in a gold country town that is actually kind of a cross between two. They're not too far from my house. So we would like to show you some things around here. So we're hoping that you will all save up, that we're giving you plenty of notice. It's going to be almost a year. The book comes out April 7th. So Novak weekend will be the following Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully maybe start Friday night, and then we'll have Saturday and Sunday, and people can go home Sunday evening. So just a couple days, enough time to hopefully do a little wine tasting and see Gold Country and some other things that we're going to have planned. So good food, some nice wine. And so that is going to be a lot of fun. I hope that you will plan to join me for that. But let me go over the stops I will be at while I am touring here in the next couple of weeks. We leave on Sunday. It's hard to believe that I'm going out again because we just did it in the fall, but I always love it. And this time Alexa will be with me instead of Ted. So it'll be like a girls' 2-week blitz out there. Our first event is Saturday. This Saturday, it's a launch party here in Sacramento. We're having it at Clara Auditorium in Midtown. That way there's plenty of seating. There's plenty of free parking. We got so lucky because the parking lot actually is set up to be paid parking, but they don't charge until June 1st. So we get to have the whole parking lot. There's plenty of street parking. And so anyway, it's going to be fun. So grab your tickets for that. If you haven't already, they're on my website. Then I'm going to Cincinnati, Ohio. I have actually 2 on the same day. I have one at Joseph Beth Books at 1 p.m. and one's at Barnes & Noble at 7. Then I go to Okemos, Michigan, which I love Michigan. I've been to Schuler Books before, so I'm going to Schuler Books at 6:30. Then Geneva, Ohio. This one is sold out, but I'm going to try and get there early. So if you want to come by and say hi and get a signed book, I'll be available. But its seating was limited as far as the size of the store and everything, and that one went pretty quick. But I'd be happy, take pictures, meet you, whatever. That's with Lake Erie Book Company, and that's the cute couple that had the baby that I posted about. I don't know if you saw that. Then I'm going to Plainville, Massachusetts, An Unlikely Story. That one's going to be on June 5th. Then on June 6th, I'll be at Inkwood Books in Haddonfield, New Jersey. June 7th, Bethany Beach, Delaware. Rehoboth Beach, Delaware is going to be June 8th. Then I go to Boonesboro to Nora's bookstore, which I love going. I've been there many times before too, and there's always a wonderful crowd there. That one's June 10th at 1 p.m. And then we have Wake Forest, North Carolina, page 158 on June 11th. And then we have our virtual party on June 26th, which is the one I hope everybody can make from the comfort of their own homes, even if you're not able to come out and meet me in person. So we have another picture contest going. So another something to win. Post a picture of yourself or your pet or some cool tree or thing you've made or whatever you want to do. Get creative and post a picture with the new book, and make sure that you tag author Brenda Novak for a chance to win a $100 gift card to the Brenda Novak store. To the bookstore of your choice, actually. That one's to the bookstore of your choice. So we're changing it up a little bit there. And so I can't wait to start seeing the pictures. We always have so much fun picking the winners, especially once we compile them all and start looking at them for the newsletter and stuff. That's really fun. And now that all of our book group business is handled, it's my great thrill to introduce you to Wade Rouse, who is, of course, Viola Shipman, and we are going to bring him on. He is a USA Today and Publishers Weekly bestselling author of 20 books, and he is just delightful. We've had him on before, so I'm excited that we get to have him back. So, Lex, you ready to bring him on? There he is.
Hey, girlfriend, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
You too. You have been traveling and have gone to how many stops? Do you even know?
I don't know. We did 11 states in 2 weeks, and then landed back in Michigan or touring in Michigan through June. So it was a great tour, and you're hitting some of my favorite spots on tour
Yeah, we did
too.
a shortened one this time. I've toured so much in the past couple of years that we just were like, okay, I don't know if we can maintain another big one, but I'm excited to at least get out and do a few.
Yeah, you know touring. It's lovely, but it was, those 5 a.m. flights and then going until midnight and getting 4 hours of sleep it can wear on you just a little bit. So yeah, I survived. It was
Right?
lovely.
That fear of missing a flight, I think, is what is the worst part about a tour. It's like you're so scared if you miss it, it just messes up everything. So you're rushing, and if they delay the plane, you could miss it. And so yeah, that's the stressful part. It's fun meeting the readers, but the whole getting there can be an ordeal.
It is. I just have to. I met this wonderful woman that's probably every bit of 90 years old at Litchfield Books in the South, and she was amazing. And I was a little tired, and I was gearing back up for a luncheon. And I go, "What's your secret?" And she goes, "Honey, a little powder, a little paint makes the lady what she ain't." And I'm like, "Okay, I get it now. I just slap on a little more bronzer and
There you
go."
go. There you go. I love it. So, did you have anything crazy happen to you while you were on tour? My last one included a hurricane that I flew into instead of when everyone was trying to get out.
I have to say it was weather-wise, knock on wood, it was amazing. I think every bad storm we had kind of went through the day before that we were coming. So the weather was lovely. Yeah, nothing really awful happened. We did have a woman that tried to walk out she tried to steal chicken and red velvet cake from a buffet and put it in her purse and walk
Oh
out.
my gosh.
But, but that's another
That's
story.
crazy. That reminds me of I was at a church event and I brought a big shrimp platter and I was about to turn to get it, what was left of it. And there was a lady there that was taking it and doing the same thing, like just sweeping it all into her purse. And I was like, ooh, that was weird.
Yeah, it's like use a napkin. It's okay. They'll get you some tinfoil. It's okay.
Exactly. I'll let you take it home. But anyway, thank you so much for signing so many copies of your book for the book boxes. I know that's a big ask because, it's a lot of work, but you were so gracious about it and we appreciate it.
I mean, I have to thank you. What you do for authors is incredible because you're not only giving readers an incredible gift through your book boxes, you're introducing us to people that have never read our work before. So you introduce us to hundreds of people. So always very grateful.
Well,
Thank you.
everybody loved your book and it's so fun to hear the feedback. How long did it take you to sign all those, by the way? I
it
always
was
curious.
it was a struggle. I had just gotten back from tour and they were like staring at me. And you're trying to catch up on all the emails and do some work as you're kind of getting back into the flow of things. But I cranked them out pretty quickly actually. It's been a weird cold spring in Michigan, so I did them in front of the fireplace. It was
Oh,
nice.
good, good. And did Gary help you? Did you recruit him?
I did, what, he helped open boxes on occasion, and then he was the best at resealing the boxes because that's the tough part.
That's awesome. Well, before we get into the interview, I just want to let everybody know that we have a May box giveaway. We always give away the previous book box, the one that we just are interviewing the author for, when we put up a post asking for questions and for people to RSVP. So this is that one that we're going to give away now. And that one goes to Jerry Ann. So congratulations to Jerry Ann. There is going to be a link in the comments and on my website. There's a giveaway claim form. We ask you to fill that out because it's really hard to get out all of our giveaways otherwise, but we will post all the winners and the link will also be in that post. So you will be tagged. So Wade, why don't you tell everybody how you got your start?
Yeah, my gosh, we were just talking about this on another interview, but I grew up journaling and I always wanted to be an author. They ask kids what they want to do, and some kids want to be a baseball player. I always dreamed of being a writer, and I never thought it was possible. But I started in journalism. I was in public relations for about 20 years, and then I wrote my first book, which was a memoir that was published in 2006. Which, by the way, just was republished this week.
What?
It's getting a new life called America's Boy, and that was the start of it. That was 20 years ago and 20 books. So it's been, it's been a incredible, insane, beautiful, nutty ride. public, and I couldn't imagine a better life.
Yes, I always say that the road to successful publishing never did run smooth. Like there's always
Yeah.
some change or some disruption that you don't expect.
You know,
So what's your day to day?
day
Oh,
to
go ahead.
day, my agent always says an overnight success is 20 years in the making in publishing. You know, it takes that long, really, to do it. You know, my day to day is I wake, or I don't know what yours is like, but I get up very early, and I usually try to be either writing or editing by about 6:30 in the morning. I don't really, I just, morning's my good time. It's my quiet time before the day interrupts. I try not to do social media or any type of work email or business stuff, and I just write. And I usually do that until about noon. And I'm a big runner, as you know, exerciser. So then I
Mhm.
do that and I kind of process what I've written and go back and do a little editing. And then the rest of the day is what I call the business of publishing that we all have to do.
I think that's probably the best way to structure it. Sadly, I do not follow that formula. I stay up really late. I get in bed about 1, and then I don't get up until 8. And I sadly go right to the business of writing, and then it sometimes squeezes my writing page or right to the business side of writing, not the writing like you do. And I should, but I don't know about you, but I'm held very captive if people around me want me to be available to them. Like I can't turn
Yeah.
it off. So Gary get up with you? How do you feel like you're kind of safe to just go take off on your morning that early?
He does. You know, it's I think we have a pretty good, after 20 years of writing, I think we have a really good routine. I'm noise obsessed. So, and
Uh-huh.
Gary, if you Gary's a talker, he uses his word.
Oh,
I
sure.
write my words, he uses them verbally. And he usually will take the dog for a really long 2 to 3 mile walk in the morning, and then he goes to yoga right after that. So I will have kind of an uninterrupted morning, which is really nice.
Yeah, yeah, that makes it nice. So, Wade, in your opinion, what's the most important element in the making of a good novel?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. You know, I think it's really multi-layered. For me, every author is different, but for me, it is writing about something that really calls to me. You know, when an author, you know, starts the voyage of writing a novel or a memoir, whatever it is, you're getting into 400 pages. You're going on a really long roller coaster ride, and
Right.
I have to be really whatever the story is or the characters, the questions that I seek to answer over the course of that book really have to be meaningful to me, and I hope to readers during the entire process, because you don't ever want to lose focus or interest in what you're doing.
That's a great answer. I think that's the first time I've received that answer too. That's one question I ask everybody that I interview, and I keep thinking that they'll start repeating, but that's a new answer. So good for you. Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah, being compelled to write it, that gives you that
Yeah,
fire in your belly, and it really enhances the emotional impact of the novel because of how you're imbuing so much of yourself in it. So
yeah,
I think
very
that's
much. And I was just thinking about the your upcoming novel. I'm sure with the wedding, I mean, there was something that really resonated in your soul.
Oh, that was my favorite trip I've ever taken.
Mm,
The wedding was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I mean, when you go off for a destination wedding, you don't know how it's going to turn out. Anything could have gone wrong. And it did actually, it rained. And so at the last second, we had to buy these pergola things that were $3,000 each at the last minute and put them over the dining table so that we could have, the food and everything. But it really didn't ruin anything. It really came off seamless despite that. And then, the saxophone player, it was just gorgeous. So I
ah.
just really wanted to bring back to my readers. So I'm very excited about that book, and I cannot
I
wait for
am
it to.
too. It was one of my favorite trips, Amalfi Coast, and we went to Capri. We were there for almost 3 weeks a few years ago with dear friends, and it's magical.
It is magical. Like I cannot recommend it highly enough. Like, and
No.
there's a quote at the beginning of my book that says something about you can have the whole world if I can have Italy. I can't remember who said it
Ah,
now.
I
I
love
thought
that.
that's kind of how I feel. Like take the whole world, just give me Italy.
Yeah.
So anyway, now is our spill the tea segment. And I love this one. It's something that we added because we did a recent tea box. And so we started to spill the tea with Patty Callahan Henry. And everybody loved it so much when we were reading through the comments. We thought, you know what, this is something that we should continue with our other authors because it just gives people a little more intimate glance. It's questions that you're not going to get asked in other interviews. So it's not like they can just go to any podcast and hear these things. And it's just kind of a fun way where we can dish and they can see kind of the inside life of what our lives are like and what our publishing lives are like. So I will start with the first question. Do you ever read your own reviews?
Yes, I do. It's funny. I go to you do too. You go to a lot of author literary panels and people say they don't. I don't ever buy that. I think we're all, especially reader reviews, we are very invested with our, our communities and our readers. And I always urge people to post reviews, and I do. I kind of stay up with what they say, and I take it to heart. Even critical reviews. Some often aren't as flattering as I'd like them to be, but I always say critical review, comes from a place of trying to understand the novel, and we wrote it, others didn't. So it's going to be subjective on how it lands for people. But I try to respect the criticism and the reviews that I receive.
Yeah. I think that I can't not look, I think is maybe I'm just a curious person. And I am growing a little bit of a thicker skin because I
Yeah.
finally realized that not every book is for every reader. And that's
Yes.
okay. Like before, it wasn't okay. I just thought I had to meet I'm such a pleaser. I had to win over everybody.
Yes.
And I finally realized I'm not going to.
True.
Some people are just frankly not going to get me or my books. And I have to just let that be. And so I think that experience, we've been around the block a few times. I think that it comes with experience to kind of learn to take it a little bit more in stride if we can, because it is sometimes, and sometimes it can also mean that they had a severe triggering of something in the book too. It may not even be personal to your story. There could be some element of
100%.
with that could cause this emotional trigger. So yeah, I mean, I wish I could be like some of the others say, I never read it. I don't want to, get hurt, because I am thin skinned. And so it does hurt. And I'm sure you are. I think most writers are pretty sensitive and in tune with their emotions. So I can't imagine there's anybody out there it doesn't hurt.
It hurts. Yeah. And there's been there was a reviewer that once said that I should be, not only they didn't like the book, I should be eradicated from the earth, which is a little pointed. But as you say, there's something I think beyond us or the work that is sitting there. But I think I'm like you. I think I've gotten a much thicker skin, but I still like to be in tune with the buzz surrounding the book.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Okay, what's the most scandalous thing you've ever witnessed at a writers' convention?
Oh my
God!
God!
Been to a lot of writer conventions?
Yes, I have. Do you know, this is rare, but I have heard at night after some drinks, some not so kind things being said about other writers who were present. And I think it was more of a jealousy type thing about other authors that were there, more so than personal. But I always tell people this: publishing and being an author is a very small playground, and everybody, you're going to eventually know everybody, on the playground. So be kind, be nice, because it gets around.
Well, the most scandalous thing I would like to have seen, but I actually wasn't there for, happened just before I started going to RT and publishing. It was RT used to be a readers convention, for those of you who aren't familiar with it. And there was a huge scandal one year where the woman who ran these actually got into a physical altercation with another woman at this conference. And it was all anybody could talk about. And so I show up the next year and I'm hearing about this physical altercation. And I mean, people talked about it for years. It must have been
Oh my gosh.
quite the sight. So it always made me curious, like what really happened. So in a way I had kind of wished that I had witnessed that just to see what it was all about. What could cause two women to physically fight?
I know. That's good tea.
So I wasn't there for that one, but okay. What's the rudest thing a reader has ever done?
Oh my God, there are many.
That you about evaluating, you might take the cake. I don't know.
What, Gary? Your age. Oh yeah, there are many. I'm going to focus and sweetly rude, but I spoke at a really large upscale retirement center outside of Detroit. And a woman sitting in the back of a certain age raised her hand in the middle of it. And she said, "How could you have written so many books at such a young age?" And I said, "Oh, thank you. That's so sweet." And then after, when we were signing books, I was sitting there and she walked up to me and she goes, "A little closer and in the light, I can really see all of the age now." That's what,
You're like, oh, thank you.
and I was like, and she was hilarious and full of spit and vinegar. And I'm like, "Honey, in this light, I can see it too." We got along great, but I was like, "Ooh, that's a lot."
That's funny. A little TMI.
Yeah.
One of mine was that what I thought was kind of funny was I had this person that I got to know, and I thought we were sort of friends, not real close, but sort of friends. But she would act interested in my books, but she would never actually like come out to any of my signings or anything. So I thought, I don't know, maybe she doesn't like my work, maybe she doesn't actually read it. Well, I figured out why because she finally did come out to an event, and she followed me around the entire event with the manuscript she had just written. So it really
Ah.
wasn't about that she liked anything that I was doing. It was more about, will you do
Mm.
this for me? Which I'm happy to do what I can, of course. It was just a really awkward time because I was stressed out. I was trying to, talk with all these people. And
Yeah.
here's this person everywhere I go carrying this big, thick manuscript, like I'm supposed to carry that around with me the rest of the signing. So it was kind of funny, but I'm sure she meant well, and we just get so excited to want to achieve that I think sometimes we don't think through it, like, hey, maybe you should email her or something about it, not follow her around at a book signing.
It's and we do. I think people don't realize authors get that a lot. I mean, we're a little bit like dentists and doctors at parties. People will ask advice, or they want us to read their work, or somebody has, a working manuscript in the trunk of their car they want us to read, whatever it is.
Well, you've heard the story of the editors at writers conferences where they can't even go into the bathroom without somebody trying to slip a manuscript up under the stall. So now that everything's digital, I'm sure that's not happening as much, which is why I was so surprised when she showed up with this thick manuscript, actually. Oh, print it out. Okay. Anyway, so what's your hot take about book tours?
Ah, it's here's I'll give a real skinny on this. I actually feel blessed that in this day and age that my publisher is still invested and interested in not only sending me on tour but expanding my reach to readers. Here's what I don't think most folks get is they see us show up to the event looking as good as we possibly can and don't see kind of behind the scenes of what's gone into that, which, as we said, is waking up at 4 o'clock for a flight. Often not even being able to get to a hotel in time to changing in a bathroom or getting ready, which I've done many times, or at a friend's house on the fly. I'm not being able to eat before an event. And then being on in front of a large group of readers, it can be hard. And then, on this last tour, we often would go to the next stop, either a flight or driving, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours after an event, and would get there, 1 in the morning, crash for a few hours, do interviews the next morning, and start all over again. It's it's a blessing, but it can be incredibly grueling.
Yeah, it can be tough, and especially if you show up and they no longer are holding your hotel room. Alexa and I were on tour together and we were exhausted, but because we got to the hotel so late, they thought we weren't coming. So they went ahead and rented the room to other people. So when we show up, we literally are greeted with a lobby full of people that the same thing had happened to, like an entire lobby. Like there were families laying on the couch next to each
Oh
other.
my
Like they had
gosh.
nowhere to go because it was so busy. I think this was in Miami, if I remember right. And they had some event there that had all of the hotels full, which is why I think the hotel was like so eager, like, oh, they're not showing up, more money. So then we're standing, all of us were in a line standing at the desk going, well, we need a room. So luckily we found one of the last rooms available and we were able to make it over to it. But by then, I mean, it's talking 2:30 in the morning,
Oh,
and this
oh
hotel
my
had
gosh.
construction going on. So it was jackhammering, 3 hours later. It was crazy. So it was just kind of a funny story of one of our tour nights that was not as smooth as we would have liked.
And it's like the old Seinfeld joke, I made a reservation for a reason. I'm reserving a room.
Yeah, yeah. Like I didn't know that they cut you off and just sell it to somebody else.
No.
I didn't Well, they could if you'd already paid for it. Like it was paid in advance.
Ah,
So that was a shocker to me. But okay, another dishing question. Have you ever let an editor change something in your book that you've regretted?
yes. Yes, I wrote an early one of my first memoirs. It was my third. It was called At Least in the City Someone Would Hear Me Scream. It was about us moving from the city to our cottage here in Michigan in February, to try and be modern day Thoreau's, kind of, reinvent our lives. And if you've been to Michigan in the winter, it is not lovely. I mean, it snows a lot for
Cold.
months at a time and is cold. Resort town is shut down. It's just, hunters and camouflage and me and Gary. And I did not, there was some cursing in the book, because if it's snowing for the 45th day in the row, you don't walk outside and go, darn it, stop it. And she said, if somebody opened a book to a page and there happened to be a curse word, they might not take kindly to that. They might put it down. And there were many passages that kind of got watered down a little bit because they weren't authentically me and kind of how I was feeling at the time. And I regret that, because I think it's funny. I think it would have been funnier.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have one too, but I'm going to save that for another meeting because I don't want to run out of time. I want to get to some of these other questions, but I do want to ask one more of our spill the tea ones. What's your guilty pleasure? A certain dessert, a certain way of wasting time, a movie or show you can't help binge watching?
Guilty pleasure. A little bit boring, but I really love good coffee. I've loved since I start my morning early. We've got coffee. I've got an espresso machine. I got a frother. I kind of try to make my own like fancy coffees here at home, and it's really nice. It kind of starts your day off without having to leave and go anywhere. So that's probably it. And by the way, my show guilty pleasure I'm watching. If you've not watched Hacks with Gene Smart,
Mhm.
it is the
I haven't
best
seen it.
show on TV. She's won the Emmy, I think, the last 3 years in a row. It's
Wow.
about it's about a comic that of a certain age that is still trying to stay on top, and it is brilliant about entertainment.
Okay, well, thank you for the recommendation. My guilty pleasure is The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, I think it's called. And I've never watched true crime. I've never seen the Beverly Hills stuff or even The Bachelor. But our best friend's daughter is in the show, which of course it's like, okay, we got to see, what Macy's up to. But it's a lot. Like sometimes we look at each other and kind of shake our head because some of the girls and the decisions that they're making and how shallow it all is. And it's just, yeah, we're like, oh wow. But somehow I got caught up in it when my son came home last week and he wanted to show me a couple episodes. And so now I'm watching the whole thing. So it's kind of a definitely a guilty pleasure.
It's
And
addictive, but they'll get you.
yes, they, on purpose. Oh, the drama that they've added and stuff is
Yeah.
hilarious. I feel very manipulated emotionally, but I still watch. So just now we're moving on to your book. It's a quirky, humorous tale of a romance writer's hidden past. So Melanie Borelli wants to know, what was the idea that sparked this novel?
It's a great question. It actually started, I turned 60. I signed a new 3-book contract, and I really started thinking long and hard about the stories that I wanted to tell. And this one really circled back to my grandmother, my pen name. Um, this is a book a lot about voice, using your voice to make a difference in the world, using your voice to make the world better, using your voice to do the right thing. And my grandmother,
That's be yourself.
yeah, my
Yeah.
grandmother not having any money, only a high school education, no power or status, was never listened to in her life, but I listened to her. And in writing this book, I thought about how much things have changed for women and how little things have changed for women over the past few decades since she has been gone. And that's really what sparked writing the book.
Awesome. Well, great answer. Heather Graham wants to know, how did you come up with the title of this book, which is so perfect, right?
It's a good title. It wasn't the original title. Mine are never the original titles. We always go back and forth. It was called The Mighty. It was called The Mighty Pages on my working manuscript, which is the name of the parents' press in the book.
House, yeah.
But they thought that sounded a little maybe superhero-y. So they asked me to come up with other titles. And this was the first one that I sent them. And I love it. I think it's great.
Oh, I envy the title. I think it's a great one. Very, very
Thank you.
smart. Um, so one of my favorite characters was Emma's agent. She was very
Uh,
quirky. Fun. Have you ever met anyone like her, or did you just conjure her out of your imagination?
you
Like
know,
she's not anything on your agent or anything.
she's, my agent is born and bred New York with that kind of personality. So a little bit, but not to the drinking standard that Vivian Vandeventer has. Quirky story. Back in the day before RuPaul's Drag Race or any of this, we had a friend that um, would entertain on occasion and have these parties, and his name was Vivian Vandeventer that he used. And he was this very over the top character. And I'm like, God, I would love to use that kind of personality in a book. And was patterned a little bit after that character that he had many years ago. But publishing, being a literary agent is tough. And I just loved my agent's brutally honest and has
Yeah.
such a passion still for what she does. And that's really what I wanted to capture too.
Yeah, yeah, I think you did that well. So this book touched on a lot of family expectations. This is from Nicole Duvall, a reader. This book touched a lot on family expectations. I can relate to the feeling of never being enough. Were there any expectations put on you that felt unachievable?
Yeah, very much so. And I don't want to get that's a big piece of why I wrote this book too. All of my books really do come from a kind of a deep wellspring. But as I lost my older brother when I was young, and there were so many expectations I put upon myself to fulfill the things that I thought he would give to my parents or my grandparents, that really stunted me for many, many years because I wasn't being my authentic self or my true self. And when you are that way, it not only affects you, it affects everyone that you love around you. So yeah, I wrote this book and because of that, from coming from a very deep personal place. I hope that makes sense, but that really was kind of a jumping point for me in writing this.
And I feel like after reading Magic Season, you can also see um, some of the complexities of the relationships that you were dealing
Yeah,
with. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Bobby Cronenberg says, I know how instrumental your grandmother was in your life. Are any of Gigi's words of advice and sayings in the book ones you learned from your grandmother?
Yeah, they are. I always bring pieces of my grandmother advice they gave me, or that my mother, who was a hospice nurse, gave me as well. They were both kind of therapists in their own way because I think they really had life figured out in a great way. All the things we all still kind of struggle with. So I do. For many years, I kept journals of their sayings and writings, and I will always revisit those and try to incorporate those into a character.
How smart to keep a journal. Wow, that's really clever. I think that's a great thing to save. I mean, of those specific things, because I hear myself saying sayings my mother said, and my kids will question me like, "What does that mean? Where'd you ever hear that?" And I'm like, "You haven't heard that saying? Like that's what my mother said all the time." But then
Yeah,
sometimes you aren't, and you're like, "Oh wow, that isn't the best of sayings. Like it's not the best way to represent that, right?"
I know. Dad's
But
coming
it's so
out.
yeah. One of the things I enjoyed most about the book was the setting. You've made me fall in love with
Mm,
Michigan when I got to visit. I had such a good time when I got to go back and have my birthday with you. And it was so nice of you and Gary to take me out to dinner and really show me the lake and your fun coffee spot and your beautiful home. It was so wonderful. So getting to visit Michigan again through the pages of this book was special to me. So I just wanted to tell
thank
you
you.
that. And I also wanted to ask I know you spend half the year in Palm Springs. Do you think you will ever set a book in that area?
Your mind reading. Yes, my very next novel is going to be set in Palm Springs. It's called Thank You for Being a Friend, and it comes out March 3rd. And I'm excited. Palm Springs, if readers have never been there, is this mid-century capital of the world. Beautiful architecture, desert town set in the mountains, and it has this insanely beautiful but quirky vibe that I bring to life in the book. So and the four main characters live in Zsa Zsa Gabor's. It's a real house, her pink house, kind of a la the Golden Girls did in Florida. So I'm super excited.
That one sounds great. And again, another
Thank
really
you.
catchy title. So I'm
Thanks.
excited. I love Palm Springs. It's very artsy feeling to me, very kind of indie and free spirited. And I love that
It
about it.
it is, it's breathtakingly beautiful, but as you said, it really has this artistic vibe that's, from young to old, from Coachella to art fairs, it captures it all.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's very vibrant. Kelly Clarkson said there are many things to discuss about this book, and I really enjoyed it, but I love the cover. Did you have any input on this or any of your covers?
I actually, that's a great question. I actually did on this one. If you've read my work or seen any of my previous covers, they're quite lovely, but they are all what I call woman with her back to you, peering off into the distance, contemplating something. And I begged them to do something a little bit different with this cover because I was a little bit tired of them. I wanted something that I felt was a little bit hipper. And, sometimes there are covers that are created that do not match the editorial, what we've written at all. And I think this really is a beautiful blend. And they even got in this Aquamarine Selectric typewriter was actually one of the first gifts I remember getting from my grandma to help me
Oh,
start on my writing career. So
aw.
that I have a little homage to that in the book, and they were actually able to put that in. So they knocked it out of the cover.
Oh, that's nice. One of my favorites of yours is the snow one, though. I can't think of the title, but I think that's so beautiful. Every time I see it, it just sings to me. You know what I mean? So I think that one was a gorgeous one for me.
Thank
What's
you. Yes, The Secret of Snow has a really beautiful, deep, it's right, kind of that color right after it snows, which
yeah,
is beautiful. Yeah, thank you.
yeah, no, that's gorgeous. Okay, I want to get to some of these before we end because I really like some of these questions we got. So Crystal Sebring said, "What is your favorite thing about being an author?"
Uh, it's really how I make sense of the world. I wake up every day and often am, I like all of you, confronting something in my life, big or small. And when I'm able to sit down and put it into words, I feel whole again and I feel hopeful again. So it really is how I make sense of the world, and I feel very blessed.
Very cathartic, yes. Okay, this one I love too. Belinda Hilly wants to know, is it getting harder or easier to write new books?
God, that's a great question. I would say both. I think I'm actually a much better writer than I was, and I hope I am than, a number of years ago. I think writing nonfictions made me a better novelist. I think writing fictions made me a better memoirist. It's getting more difficult because there's a lot of pressure on authors these days to not only produce but to sell.
Yeah,
And that balance between business and art can be very difficult. I'm also really pushing myself over the course of the next decade of my life to really broach topics that I think are deeply important and need to be discussed right now. So I have a little bit of nervousness about how those books will be received, but I'm excited. And I think fear is a good thing. I'm into scaring myself again. So I think that's a good thing.
well, it keeps you on your toes. It keeps you trying. Like every new book I write, I want it to be better than the last one. And so it's that
Exactly.
constant pursuit of excellence that I'm shooting for. I can never quite get to where I want to be, but
Mm.
so I just hope that every new novel is a little bit better, and hopefully someday I'll write my opus and be totally thrilled with it.
But you know what?
But
We're very similar like that. We are both very driven people, and I think probably to satisfy ourselves is a uphill battle too.
yes, yeah, and I don't know. It may be impossible because I mean, in your brain, what you picture, I can never quite make it happen exactly the way I want it to, if that makes sense. Like it
You're exactly right.
want it that one, and so I don't know if I'll ever get there, but it's that challenge that keeps me
100%.
interested and excited and keeps that fire in my belly and makes me want to continue writing. But I can't let you go before I ask this question, because I think everybody will enjoy it. How did you and Gary meet? This is from Pam Rickard, who's a lovely person, by the way.
It's actually, and that ties in. I'll tell the story. Gary and I met in the late 90s. We've been together a very long time now, married a very long time, at a coffee shop in St. Louis, Missouri. And I had just happened to wander in with one of my friends that happened to be a mutual friend of Gary's. I didn't realize. And Gary was actually sitting in the coffee shop waiting for one of his friends, who was coming back from a vacation, was getting off a flight and was going to meet him there. But it was back in the day before cell phones, before we had any ability to be notified. So he was just sitting there waiting, kind of serendipitously. And after a while, he approached our table and he asked how we knew each other. And he looked at me and he goes, "You have the most beautiful eyes."
Oh.
And it was very sweet and a little creepy. And he was, back in the day, Gary had he's growing his hair again, but he had that Hugh Grant kind of long hair. And he was charming and funny. And truly, from the very first day that we met, we were together ever since.
Wow,
and I was saying,
love at first sight?
It really was. It really was. I think we had both gone through so much. My mother said this, that we had both gone through so much in our lives, that it took a lot of searching and a lot of heartache. But the moment brought us together. It was almost like it was meant to be. And it's a story I chronicle in America's Boy. So it's a great story. And what if there had been cell phones, or what if he had happened to leave, or his friend had shown up? That's what makes it mysteriously incredible.
Well, and if you had not gone through the difficulties you've been through, maybe you would not have recognized that spark in each other.
100%. 100%.
You fully appreciated each other because of the difficulties. When you found the right thing, you knew it and you hung on to it. And you two are great together. You're so fun to hang out with. Ted always still talks about you. He absolutely loved our business. Both of you.
Well, you're going to be back. And I always say the best relationships, it's love, but it's also allowing the other person to be their true selves, and also each of us making the other the best we possibly can be. And you and Ted are going to come back, because Gary loves Ted, and we're going to juice together, and we're going to go to you'll come warmer and we'll go to the beach and have fun.
Art Gary made, that was just, he cooks, he does everything. I mean,
he does everything. He's a great
baker. He is amazing in the yard and everything. So anyway, kudos to Gary, and kudos to you for being smart enough to stick with Gary. And I'm so glad you guys found each other. And he also has somebody very special in you. So, thanks. Lexi's bringing me a glass of water. Thank you so much for joining us, Wade. It was such a blast to read your book. We want everything good for you. We're so excited to see your success, and we cannot wait to read. What was the Friends title coming out next March?
Thank you for being a friend. Just like the Golden Girls song.
Yeah.
And I adore you. Thank you for everything that you do, not only for me, but for everybody.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and doing all that signing. And I can't wait till we can see each other again.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay. Isn't he awesome? I just love Wade and Gary. They are so much fun to hang out with. And it was so fun to get to read his new book. And I can't wait for the one coming out in March. I don't know about you guys, but that one sounds fabulous too. So now we have an extra special treat. I don't even know if we really publicized this a whole lot, but we should have done more, because we're excited. I'm excited to introduce you to Sweta Sukaria. So she is the woman who helped us source the treats that were in the May box. We had this really fun, let me show them to you in case you didn't get one. Oh, here's our, look at that beautiful scarf. Yeah, I loved our scarf. Wasn't this such a good box, you guys? Anyway, this was probably my favorite of the two. I just love anything like that. And then I have, these are more kind of the savory snacks. So we are going to bring Sweta on, and we're going to get to talk to her. She's on the East Coast, so she was nice enough to stay up a little late to be able to visit with us. And it's a family-run company. You guys know that we love to try and feature female-owned companies or small businesses, or people who could use a hand trying to get word out and that have a really great product at the same time. I really think that those two go together. And so you can find, we'll put her website in the comments as well, so that you can have the link to order more if you want to order more of those. And we'll bring her in and chat with her for a minute. Hi, Sweta.
Hi there. Hi, Brenda. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how your family got into this business?
Sure. Our business is called Sucadias. Sucadias is my last name, and it started when my parents immigrated to the U.S. in the late 80s. And at that time, they were just, classic immigrant story. They were kind of getting their foothold and really just trying to navigate what it's like to be here. And my dad had a job. They were living in a small studio apartment in Staten Island, and my dad worked in the David's Cookies in Manhattan. And so every day he was kind of going from Staten Island to Manhattan and selling, chocolate chip cookies and oatmeal raisin cookies. And he thought to himself, would these customers also like Indian treats? And so, one day he decided to bring something that him and my mom had made at home, to just kind of test it out and see how people liked it. And he got some good, feedback. And so eventually, they started turning their studio into more of like a bakery and a kitchen. And what started out as a door-to-door operation with the help of my grandparents as well, who were here with him, has now grown into, a respected brand in Indian food. For 35 years now, we have 3 locations in New Jersey, an online e-commerce business, and we also do caterings all around the world.
So what was that first treat that he took around? What was the name of that?
That was called Kaju Katli, which is one of our most popular, and still to this day, it's one of our most popular sweets. It is a cashew-based Indian pastry.
Okay, so could it be this thing? They're little squares. When I go to the temple, I've been to the Sikh temple a lot. I love the food there. And my husband did the solar for them, so they would invite us to come eat. It was really fun because we'd get to go and have the flatbread and all the lentils, and they'd have all these wonderful sweets. And they had these little square. They look like a fudge square. It was a fudge square, but it was the texture I like, because they're almost kind of dry. They're not real soft, but I love the texture of it. It's sweet. What's that called?
That could definitely be it. If it was like almost whitish, creamish in color, that was probably it. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. And then they do these other things that are almost like a donut. They're deep fried, or maybe more of a funnel cake, because they're thin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they deep fry them, and then they're coated like with a glaze.
Yes, that is our jalebi, which is actually our all-star best-selling product. We're known for our jalebi. It's like you said, it's just like a funnel cake. It's deep fried with a saffron syrup on top, and it's absolutely delicious.
It's wonderful. We have so much fun going to see what all the treats are going to be. And the cookie, there's a cookie that I can't remember what that one was like, but I remember liking that as well. It was like a cookie. But anyway, we just love to go. And we got to go to India last November. So I was so excited when we were going to be able to put some Indian edible products in here as well, to sort of bring the taste of India to everybody. So what's it like working with family? Is it something that one thing that I love most about India is how tied the generations are to each other. I mean, I think it's something I feel sad we're losing in America, where people seem to be more isolated and lonely, but India seems to hang on to these larger, rambunctious families that are, multi-generational and cousins, and just this big, and I love that about them. So I could see this being a real positive working together, but maybe sometimes it's kind of heads too. I don't know.
That's right on the nose. It is definitely a little bit of both. I mean, We are, like, as you mentioned, we are a full family affair. It's my parents, my sister is also in the business, and then my brother-in-law as well. That's actually how they met. That's their love story. He was our head chef, and they fell in love, and now they're married and have 2 kids, and happily ever after. But yeah, and then myself as well. And so, I think, like you mentioned, it is both the most meaningful and rewarding experience and that I've ever had, as well as often sometimes frustrating, working with family. I mean, I think we know each other really well, so in that sense, like, we can kind of predict what the other person will think or do before we even, have to ask. And in that way, we kind of get things done pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I think that there's this level of trust that you just have, right? Because I've known my family my whole life. And so when you trust someone so much, it's a no-brainer to kind of say, like, we can get this project done. We can move this thing forward. I fully trust, maybe I'll be out of office, or maybe I won't be able to make this. Can I rely on this person? And that is 100% yes. At the
Yeah.
same time, we are completely different personalities, despite all being in one family. And so I think sometimes it's easy to sort of butt heads. And when you're family, it's you're that maybe professional filter that you might have is not necessarily there.
I'm a little frank, but I worked
Right.
with Alexa for 8 years, so I get what you're saying in that I will go. So I will do whatever I have to help her. She'll do whatever she has to help me. And that extra carrying that extra level of commitment and loyalty and trust helps you accomplish a lot more than maybe you would work just with be able to do with just like an hourly worker or somebody who isn't as emotionally invested. And we found that is a real blessing of us working together too. So I can imagine that your family experiences that as well. So what's your favorite item that you offer?
Ooh, my personal favorite item, it's an item called mohantal, which is also actually very popular, as you mentioned. It's often a serving when you go to the temple, as well, but it is a almost a cube shaped fudge made of chickpea flour, cardamom, nutmeg, and in texture, um, it's fudgy, but it's also grainy, and I
Okay,
love it. It's
that's it
very warm and
too.
something I've grown up always loving.
So do you get to go to India very often? You have family back there still or no?
We have a little bit of extended family still there. I do get to go. So I get to go, every couple of years, either to see family or for a work trip, or, I've been lucky enough to have a couple of friends that have gotten married in India, which
Oh,
I'll turn into a shopping trip as well.
that's a
So, so
but
yeah,
an Indian wedding is special, right?
it's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Indian weddings are definitely a breed of their own.
Yes, our tour guide told us that as soon as he had his daughter, he started saving, and that's the tradition. I mean, as soon as you get a baby girl, you have to start saving for the wedding. So it was they make a huge deal out of it, and it's very fun. I mean, they celebrate really lavishly and beautifully and big groups. And so anyway, we were sad we didn't get to see one while we were there. Well, actually, we did get to see someone taking pictures. It was beautiful. I've got some pictures of the bride and groom that they were taking
Oh,
pictures
that's
in the
lovely.
palaces and stuff, and it was beautiful. So what should we try next? Should we try what your favorite thing is, or do you have something else that you think we should try?
I think you should definitely try the jalebi. I would say is my top recommendation. It is something, I think, the nostalgia. There's this feeling of jalebi of it can be made live in front of you. We're known for that. We're one of the few people that make it live, fresh and hot. And so when you're seeing it made in front of you, that is the most authentic and traditional way to have it. And so I highly recommend jalebi. It's delicious and it makes for a great dessert. You can also put some vanilla ice cream on it. And it's,
Yeah,
yes,
especially
it's
on top
very, very good.
Oh, yeah, that would be very delicious. Well, good suggestion. So before we let you go, just tell us quickly, what is your day-to-day like? I mean, do you get up and head to the office? Are you involved in any of the cooking? Do you do marketing? What is your specific job?
Yes, every day is different. So I lead our e-commerce business, which is, we ship all over the country. We actually offer free shipping as well, and I also lead our marketing and our packaging businesses. So my day to day kind of means making sure that the team, our packaging and fulfillment team, gets all of the orders out, and then it's a mix of also kind of strategic initiatives that we're working on with the family to sort of grow and expand, and kind of help get the word out there.
When you get home, do you cook stuff that you sell for your family?
I do not.
Buy it, bring it home or take it.
We have a tradition in our family where we all sit down for lunch, for Indian lunch every day. Yeah, so when I get home, I usually choose non-Indian food, but I love cooking, and I often make, some Thai food or Mexican. I like to switch it up with the cuisine. So
Oh man, well, I would like to join you for lunch. So do you know Sonali Dev?
I don't.
Okay, she's the one who recommended you to us for the boxes. That's
Oh,
what we
okay.
found you. So she's another author, and so
Oh,
we were asking
wonderful.
her because she had just gotten back from Mumbai. She was there in India the same time I was. So we thought, do you know anybody that we could get to put some cool snacks in the box? And so she said to try you guys. So she helped us out in that. So I thought maybe she knew you, or you'd maybe met her somewhere. But anyway, it's so great that you were able to join us tonight and share a little bit of your experience with this great business. We love the snacks. We can't wait to try more. Maybe we'll try and make some for the after party next month or something. That would be fun. We'll have to think about a way to try that, because
Yes, happy to help, however.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. You have a nice night. We appreciate you staying up late to speak with us.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Okay, now I get to choose 3 live winners to win a $10 gift card to the Brendan Novak store. And so Lexi's got me here in the book group. So we're going to do Vicki Baldwin. Congratulations. And Susan Farina. Congratulations to you. And Vicki Versetti. So those will be our 3 winners of a $10 gift card to the Brendan Novak store. To thank you for being here with us live. I also see Melinda Keene and Jess Domovsky and Patricia Hubbard and Doris Ortiz. I can actually read from here, so I didn't actually need up close, but normally I have to have them very up close, but I can actually see with these glasses on. So good. So now I get to announce our top 10 contributors to the group. These are the people who post and comment the most, and they're valuable to us because they help us get the word out. And when you interact with the post, that's what tells Facebook's algorithm that other people might want to see it. So we don't choose them, Facebook does. So we just get the metrics. So thank you to Janet Roble, Karen Chandler, Nancy Brady, Virgie Lane, Cheryl Little, Star Roybal, Marie Christensen, Nicole Duvall, Jen Miller, and Maureen Gaddy. So those, every time you get in the top 10, your name goes in the hat for our December meeting, our big Christmas party, where we pull out 4 people to share a year's worth of Brendan Novak book boxes. So we give away a whole subscription, and those 4 people get 3 boxes each, so 1 quarter. So hopefully we will have, hopefully other people will try and get that as well, and we will have to get to name another top 10 next month. Okay, so remember to read and record our May Read by June 15th on my website under the Books tab for a chance to win the monthly giveaway, which is a $100 gift card to the Brendan Novak store. We have a lot of giveaways in here. Are you keeping them all straight? You don't have to read along with us monthly in order to earn your enamel pin. You can fall behind and still catch up as long as you get done by the end of the year and let us know by January 15th. But in order to enter the drawings, of course, because they take place every month, you have to be done to enter those. So you can still be entered into the grand prize as well, as long as you just get them all done by the year, which is a dedication in one of my novels. Pam Record won for this year, and it's in the book that's coming out, The Summer That Changed Everything, in June's box. So it was fun to write that for her. Our June read is The Summer That Changed Everything, my only release of 2025. I can't wait to see how you guys love it. Here it is again, in case you haven't seen it. We've been posting like crazy, hoping that everybody will go out and grab a copy. It's going to be, our book group meetings are always the last Thursday of the month. Like I said, always the same time, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And this in June, it'll be June 26th, well after our tour. So we'll be able to share with you all the things that happened there. And we are going to have a fun after party for our subscribers. So definitely subscribe if that's something you're interested in, so that we can invite you to the after party. We've got some fun things planned. We're already talking about ideas and how we're going to make that different. It'll be a Skype so that we can actually interact back and forth, and Zoom, I'm sorry, not Skype, Zoom. And what's great about that is you can interact back and forth, and you don't have to download any software. You just follow a link. So it's not hard. It's super easy. So we hope more and more people will become comfortable with that. So anyway, until next time, hopefully I will get to see you at one of my stops on my book group. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we will see you all later.
Sorry about the technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah.
The desktop still didn't work on
Oh,
the computer, but mobile
shoot.
did, so.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, desktop, we couldn't get it to work, and we don't know why. We're so sorry. We did our best. We even started over.